again the procedure, which was quit everything. And we start the sharing. For some reason, I cannot share it. Let me try again. No, I see PowerPoint, group 2, Win School. I mean, some old stuff. That's weird. Let's try here. Okay, here seems to be working. I don't know. I can't find the slide. It's so weird. The slide don't show up. And if I click here, no. Ah, okay. Maybe here, general. Something wrong. When I click on share, I don't see my slide. Something strange. I try to rejoin. Nothing. Okay. Oh, now it works. Maybe. I'm not sure. You see my slide?
Yeah, I see the slide.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, let me know if it's moving. You see the program now?
It's not moving.
Oh. You don't see the program. No moving?
No.
Only see the first page.
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, maybe now it's trying again. Let me know. Does it move?
Oh, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. So let's hope it's working, and let me know if it's not moving anymore. But I wanted, well, welcome to class 3. As you know, the topic of today is how company do CSR and sustainability. So we will talk about what we can call CSR models, different models of corporate social responsibility, sustainability, and we will discuss a few readings. But before we do this, I would like to spend the first 45 minutes, so maybe 40, in order to continue what we were doing yesterday. So let's go back to the why presentation, since I gave you some feedback to some groups, and I will join the other groups, so group 8 to 14, to give them as well a little feedback. So if we can spend the next 40 minutes on this, you can continue this work on why, and then we come back here in basically 35 minutes, so 7:15, and we start talking about this reading, and around 8 o'clock we have a break, and then you start the teamwork on today's topic, And I would like to have the last 10 or 15 minutes of class to summarize. I will go back to the key learning for today's class and also what happens tomorrow. Okay, so please join your group now and work still on the why, which, as you remember from yesterday, was to identify examples of practices, projects, or specific initiatives that you can say this is an example of CSR or sustainability, and try to map them according to the rational triangle, so the public interest or managerialist or value shift motivation. Okay, so that's still the work that you started yesterday. I would like you to continue, and you know, thinking about the comments I made yesterday, try to make it more specific, to provide the data, to provide maybe some supporting evidence, either from the company report or from other sources, just to make the final presentation more precise, concise, and try to convince the audience that, you know, you interpret, because it's not basically the goal to describe what the company is doing, but to interpret, in this case, the motivation. Why do you think the company is doing these things? So try to reflect in your presentation on the why. So, and going back to the article by Zadek and the idea, what is the difference between public interest, managerialist, and value shift? You have to convince the class when you present that what you're seeing can be placed in according to these three different motivation. Okay, so please, let's go to the group, and please come back at 1:15. Okay, so I will join from group 8 to group 14 from now. Hello. So what I can do, I would like to share your your thing. Oops.
Can you hear me or it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you see your slide? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else here?
I don't know.
I don't see many faces. Okay, maybe can you reach out your other group member? Do you know?
Yeah.
In the meantime, I have a look because I did not.
They seems to be offline, but
Okay. Let me go to group 9 and I'll come back in 5 minutes to see whether they join, okay?
okay, thank you.
All right. Hello. Hello, group 10. Hi, group 10.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I just wanted to have a look at your slide together and see if you have any comments or so let me share what you sent, right?
Okay.
No, I share the wrong thing.
IKEA.
But if I click here, maybe we can see that, right? Did it come? Okay. Yeah. The illegal wood scandal in Romania. So what is the scandal about? Okay, so I'm reading your slide and I see a good summary here of this issue in Romania. Okay, so apparently it's like a France 2 magazine. Okay, so it's from Reportage. Okay, and then we can see that the company is involved in this Forest Stewardship Council, right? So, okay, 23 to 28%. Okay, but how much more wood certified? What do you mean more wood? What is the percentage? Yeah. Let's try to see whether you find out how much of the wood that IKEA is using is from Forest Stewardship Council, is certified from this initiative, okay? So maybe when you present, you should explain briefly what this is. What is this standard about natural resources and forest stewardship, right? So that's something you could explain a little bit. And we would like to know, how good is the company doing right now? How much of this wood is certified?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. You alleyways do. So here is both about learning, training, and gender balance. So there are two different things. So I don't know which one exactly you want to focus on, because one is more about how you educate or train your workers, and then there is this data about women.
Okay.
So 40% of managers are women. Is this good or bad? That's the question. When you see the data, is it better than others or worse, or it's what any company is doing? That's the kind of information you should give to the class in order to give to explain, if the company is doing particularly well or not in this issue. At the end, when you have to evaluate this, you need to find out like a benchmark. Yeah.
Okay.
And yes, and if the company is better than others, maybe it's more value shift. You could argue maybe. But of course, yes, I see that. Of course, by if they measure employee satisfaction, do they have statistics as well? If you can bring some data, then you can also argue that they do it because they see a benefit of it. Of course, more satisfied employees, it means you lower the retention cost, and you improve probably productivity. Yeah, so there are good benefits as well.
Okay.
Okay, good. Value shift. Yeah. Okay, we will see with next week circular economy. Okay, so you will expand about circular economy with Rodrigo next week, but that's a good point. So it's about shifting and changing the business model. Yeah. So, okay. converting all polyester to recycled polyester by the end of 2020. So now we are all there. Now we should know how far they are from this target. Huh? It would be good to see. Okay. Yeah. Good. I think that's clear. Yeah. So at the end, you will read more, and you will. The question for you at the end of the story is, by looking at more project, more initiative, do you think the company as a whole, as a strategy, where do you put the company? That's the question for the end. But these are 3 good examples, I think, very clear. You have any question for me?
No, I think clear.
Okay.
I think okay. Thank you.
Okay, so just I think it's important that when you make a reference to an external standard like this, you give some quick explanation to the people in the room and try to find out more data about how big is how much is IKEA doing. And again, if you see some statistics from the standard organization about other industry, other companies, you can do some benchmark and then gives as a good way to make an opinion at the end. Okay. Okay. So I'll leave you, and I'll see you later in the main room. Bye bye.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. You have more friends? 2?
Yeah, Professor. Yeah.
A group of 2 now?
Yeah, we are 3.
I've got a call from Eleanor. I don't know. Let me see. I will come back. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Professor.
Hi.
Hi.
All right. Thanks for calling me. I was going to come in a little bit more time, but yes, please show me your work and let me know if you have any question, or if I have a quick look, I can give you some comments. Yeah.
You can see the slide at the moment?
Yeah. The title looks good. I have no comments on that.
So
move on.
You want us to present every example, or?
No, just show me the slide and we can talk through.
Okay.
Yeah. No formal presentation. Voila, what you have here.
First example.
Okay. No, wait.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's talk about each of one, a couple of minutes. So I read the slide, and then I need to see whether I understand, if there is need for more information, blah blah blah. Okay. So here you are focused on Vietnam.
Yes. This example is for Vietnam. We have 3 examples.
All in Vietnam.
First example,
No.
we are in Vietnam.
Okay. So enhance local economy. Well, there are 2 things here, right? Yes, it's about education facilities. Okay. So both social and economic benefit for the local community. Now, this community is linked to any facility where Bridgestone operates in Vietnam, or is just one village in Vietnam?
Actually, this is just one poor province in Vietnam, and not linked directly with the profits of a company.
Yeah.
This is just a social activity to show that Bridgestone cares about the social, and something like it's the commitment between the company, that the company will give the best service to everybody in Vietnam, and by this action, Bridgestone also draw the attention of dealer
Okay, but this road, I mean, this bridge that they built has nothing to do with the tire production, right? They don't make basically the bridge. They will pay someone to make the bridge, right? So it's also related to what we see today. You know, what kind of activity the company do in terms of CSR is more strategic. But if we look at this model that you are dealing with, it could also fit into the managerialist, because one of the typical managerialist idea is community investing. What we call community investing, to invest to support the local community. This is an investment. It's not Bridgestone, you know, making new tires that you know, are more safe for driving your car. It's about a community investing program. Okay, it's not linked to the business. Okay, so it could be both value shift, but maybe as well managerialist. Okay, because value shift is really a change in the way the company is doing their core business. Okay, so if they change the tire, if they do a different kind of tire, or if they have a facility and they change the facility, but this village has nothing to do with the Bridgestone facility, right? It's just a good, it's nice, it's a support in the social environment and also economically, but it's not very linked to the business. So it's not really a typical value shift. It could be seen as a community investing program. Okay, let me see the next one. Okay, this is more interesting because this is exactly what we will discuss today. It's more linked to what they say, the linkages of the company to society, you know, the value chain, the inside out. The company is making tires, and here you are talking about safe skill, safety skill in driving, and of course driving involves the tires as well. So it is linked to the business to some extent. Okay, so it's again supporting, is again a support. So it's like a community investment. It's like a sort of, this is exactly what we will discuss today, strategic CSR. So it is still an investment. Again, the company is not changing the business model, how you make your tires, but you are doing something which is not just a bridge in a poor society, is linked to your business, to the transportation, to the driving, to the automobile sector, which is where you operate. And so there is the external outside in linkages, because that's the external competitive context, as we will see, we will call it today. So again, I would say, I'm not sure the motivation is value shift. I would say the same. For me, it looks more managerialist, because it's investing in a community, because at the end it comes back to the company. Okay, but of course we can. It's not black and white. Yeah, we can discuss this. Yeah, the last one, please.
It's in 2 slides, the last one.
Okay, so coming to the pandemic and from other disaster, fight COVID, support community. So it's all about this kind of intervention in the society, in the community. Australia donate funds to aid recovery. Thailand help to restore sovereignty. Okay, go on. The next is about floods, Jakarta. Grocery supplies. Okay, so if I give grocery and supplies, it's not what I do as a company. Bridgestone is not producing food. So again, these are the kind of CSR activity which is not linked to the business model. It doesn't imply a radical shift in my vision. You know, how do I make tires? But it's more managerialist. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, it's good. I mean, I think it's good. Now you have to, the task for you is to read more about the company and try to read more about the strategy. You know, it's a company making tires. So, and you know, the more we go into the course, today we talk about these different types of CSR, and tomorrow we'll talk about materiality. So the more we discuss, the more you will focus really on the core business of the company, and you need to understand what is CSR for a company which make tires. Because as you already raised the question, CSR is different and sustainability is different if I am a bank, if I'm a pharmaceutical company, or if I make tires. And that's the challenge. Every company can do this. Every company can help a community in need. And this is nice, and we say thank you very much. You know, it's a nice thing to do. But it's more important that the way they make the tires, the pharmaceutical, or the financial products, it's responsible and sustainable. And that's the real question, okay? So read more and not just looking for projects for the community and what typically people say, this is charity, social responsibility, blah, 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 but more linked to the core business of the company, where the business, the company has issue of responsibility or ethics or environmental impact, and where the company can create a better product which is more responsible and more environmentally sound. That's really important, okay?
Okay.
So maybe, and maybe at the end of the story, that's what I want you to tell. I'm not saying, that this is the case of this company. I don't know. So when you are finished with your analysis, you have to tell the class, at the end of the story, we think the company is doing more or less this kind of activity. And so they have an idea of CSR, which is really, let's be good in good citizenship. We will discuss today. Let's be a good citizen and let's give something back to the community. Or if it's value shift, you see a change, at least the idea that they need to change the business model towards more sustainable design, production, manufacturing, really core business ideas. Otherwise, it's always something like charity. Yeah.
So value shift, it's always, not always, but mostly when they are changing their business model.
Yes, yes. It's a transformation of their business, integrating this idea of responsibility, ethics, and environmental protection in the way they make their business, not helping society, and has nothing to do with the tires. It's a nice thing to do, but it's like, I am a terrible professor and then I give charity to a NGO teaching children in the street here in Paris. Yes, but what I do in my school is more important. I am a professor in my school. I have to be good in my school, not giving charity to others. It's a different.
So, like for example, we saw that they are using recycled tires. That, for example, is value shift.
That's exactly, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It could be value shift, it could be managerial, because still, we can do it because we save money at the end, right? Yeah. But it's linked to the business, yeah. Okay. At the end, it's up to you, The more you read about the company, you make up your mind what is really this company doing. If 80% of what they do is about this, then they're still in this kind of mentality or mindset, and that's their main approach, and that's fine. It's your evaluation. It's fine.
Okay.
D'accord. See you later.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Kellogg. All right. Kellogg.
Yes, about group 8.
Well, so you can hear me now. Okay. So I didn't have a chance, but I want to have a look and give you some comments, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay, so the first one is a commitment, okay, by 2030, blah, blah, blah. So they created a charitable funds. They donated 18 millions. Oh, nice music. So, okay, so this is what they are doing here. So that you are saying that this is a public interest. Can you please mute the music? Sorry. You know where the music is coming from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, there are different things here. So they are donating and they are supporting different people, and as well involving their employees. Okay. So and you say it's public interest. So if you say it's public interest, I expect that there is some kind of external pressure towards this company saying, hey, you have a responsibility here. You have to respond. And I don't know. I don't know. So if you have this evidence, you should bring it and show it. Or is it a general, nice things to do for a company working in the food sector to give some charity, basically, to fight hunger? Okay, and that's something we will discuss today. We will discuss exactly this kind of strategic CSR versus responsive CSR. But if you say public interest, there should be the evidence that there is an external pressure. Either some NGOs or some population or some government who Kellogg's has a responsibility. They need to do more, and they're not doing enough. And so there's a kind of criticism to push the company to do these things. Otherwise, I don't see here. So in your slide, I see what they do, but I don't see the why. So you need to bring evidence to articulate your motivation. Why they do it? It could be managerialist, or maybe it could be value shift. The company decided that their mission is to save the problem of hunger in the world. I don't know. So here, there is no link between what they do and the motivation. So that's the link you need to make explicit, okay?
Okay.
So let's see, value shift, sustainable environment. Sustainable environment, what do you mean? A working environment or sustainability? Environmental.
Sustainability.
And so environmental sustainability, you mean, okay. Okay, environmental. Sustainable rice platform. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so when you reference to something like an external initiative, like the Sustainable Rice Platform, give a quick information to the class. Of course, nobody knows about all this standard, okay? So to be a founding member, you are right. It means that the company is committed and not just joining an initiative. So to be a founding member is important. It means he's one of the company leading in this field and have been, active or proactive to have this initiative in this field. And in this field means for all the food companies, so not just for Kellogg's. Now you have to give this kind of information, not just maybe about use of water. Okay. Yeah, I mean, see how much basically of the rice, if there is any information, how much this really is a value shift, or how much this affected the way the company is producing their products, or the rice-based product, I guess, how much of the rice comes from this kind of certification, right? That's I think important to know, because one thing is to promote an initiative and to be the leader, to raise awareness. The other thing is really, now 50% of all the rice comes from this sustainable rice kind of certification. And so
it can be in value shift and managerialist, or
yeah, it can be both. It can be both. Yeah, it can be both. Yeah.
Okay.
But the most important is really how relevant for the business or for the strategy of the company is this initiative. Some initiatives are really, a label like the UN Global Compact. We are a member, but the company sign and they don't have to change anything, basically. Here, it sounds like something that affects their core materials, the rice, and I guess they use a lot of rice. So maybe you need to dig more information in understanding what changed in the way they produce their product after joining this initiative and adapting to this kind of standard. So what is it basically? What does it mean, sustainable rice platform? Try to give some information about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that sounds great. Yeah. Yeah. Again, this one, yes, managerial. It can also be, well, this is really an issue that can be anything, because it's also, you know, a pressure that we have in society, because we all have this issue to how to deal with COVID and how to balance our life and work. So it could be both public pressure, it can be both managerial, it can be also a value shift. So it's really hard to see what is the key driver here. Huh? Is the company doing, you know, again, is it the company a leader in this kind of policies, has been following what other companies are doing? I guess that's, you know, something we would like to know in order to agree with you whether it's more managerialist or more value shift or public pressure. Yeah. So again, if you can find any evidence from that to understand really whether this, because this is an issue that, of course, is a relevant issue for everyone in the world today. So I expect some element of external pressure is also there. So it depends whether the company has been proactive and, you know, being very good in reacting to this issue and offering these options to the employees, or, you know, employees start complaining and then the company start doing something. That could be a lens to say whether it's more public interest or managerial or even value shift, because some company immediately promote very, very generous or, you know, very flexible working arrangement for the workers, and that's, you can say, is even value shift. Huh?
Okay.
Okay, good. Looks good. So at the end of the story, you know, you read more, and the goal is that not that you have one story for each angle, but what is your overall view of the company? That's the idea. But we will discuss this again today.
Okay, thank you for your recommendation.
Okay, thank you. See you later. See you soon.
See you later.
Yeah. Okay, only have 2 minutes and I did only 3 groups. So let's try to go to Novaland. Yes. Hello, anyone here?
Hello?
Yes. Hello, who are you? Which group are you?
Group 2.
Group 2?
Yeah.
No,
No, group 9.
group 9, yeah.
Okay. Group 9?
Yes.
Okay. So can we share? Let me see. So your slide are trying to find. Let's see if I can share your slide quickly.
Professor and team.
Yeah. Lego. Okay, I got it. Let me try to share. Oh my God, it's so complicated. Where I am? I'm still in group 9.
How about I can share our slide?
Now you should. Now I should. You should see the Lego, right? Are we
Yes.
good? Okay, Lego. All right.
But we are Novaland.
So where I am now, in group 13?
It's yes.
Or 2?
We are the group 13.
Okay, so I don't know what happened. So let's stop this. So you can share, because I'm lost now. I have three things open, and it's a total mess. Yes, I see. When I click, it stays open. Can you share your screen? Or I have to stop?
Yeah, I can share our slide.
Okay, thank you.
Professor, can you turn off your share screen?
Stop sharing option. Maybe. Does it work?
Yes, I'm sharing now.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see our slide now?
Yes, yes. Okay, so basically the idea is that if you show me the slide, I can quickly have a look and ask you some question. Okay, scholarship program support. Okay, so scholarship program support. Okay. Values shift. Okay. Is this a program they do in an area where they are constructing as well? They are planning some projects, or is some other areas of the country?
Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, this scholarship, this support that they do to students, is it localized in one area where the company is also working, you know, constructing something, or is it somewhere in Vietnam and they do building in another part of Vietnam and they're not really linked, they're not the same community? Because that's something we will discuss today, you know, whether the company is, this is what we call strategic philanthropy, strategic CSR. If it is in my community, if it's completely another, you know, it's just a scholarship to students in Vietnam, Vietnam countrywide, but not specifically in the local community where the company operates. It's more a generic initiative, okay?
Okay.
So I would not see as a value shift, but maybe more as managerialist, because if you look at the managerialist, we talk about community investing. So this seems to me community investing, you know, you invest in the community.
Okay, so we have to speak about one communities.
No, I'm asking you, you know, what are the community where the company is active? And if you're just thinking about Vietnam and, you know, okay, Vietnam is the whole community, maybe, you know, this is what they do as a good citizen, but is the core business is building facilities, right?
Okay.
It's not they are not in the business of education. That's what I'm trying to say. So value shift is an activity that implies, you know, there is a shift in the way a company basically manage their business. So, for example, I don't know, you know, they were talking about 3M who has a new building, and the new building is completely recyclable energy, so no emission, CO2 zero emission new building. That's a change, is a value shift because it's a new way to make a building. But here you are giving a scholarship to educate children. It's not changing the way they make their buildings, right?
Okay, okay.
So it could be seen as a managerialist approach because they invest in the community, yeah, for reputation, for supporting the local community, yeah. Okay, quickly, can I see the other two examples? Okay, this is more linked to their core business, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
One is
Okay.
The explanation are in the slide 7 for this example.
Okay, so I don't really understand the link between green technology and stakeholder management, but it sounds very interesting. But here I see building and I see smart technology solutions, solar energy. So this could be value shift. This could be value shift.
Can you move to the slide 7? Maybe we have the explanation and you will tell me if it's stakeholder management.
Okay. Long-term investment and performance through eco project. Okay, I don't see, if you call stakeholder management, it's like, you know, there is an initiative for managing some stakeholder expectations, okay? So are you talking about consumer here, about customers? There is some customer.
It's more about the way they are doing business.
Yeah.
Because Novaland is real estate.
Yeah.
So they change a bit their way of building.
Yeah.
So through the eco projects.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like a business benefits because they will reduce their cost.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
efficiency.
Yeah. So no, yeah, okay, but don't you have, if you say yes, of course, you see the business benefit. You can put managerialist. So the label is managerialist. Stakeholder management, yes, is when you identify, you know, an activity that the company wants to manage more the relation with a particular stakeholder. For example, the community, and I invest in the children education. And that could be stakeholder management. I manage the community relationship. But here, as you say, it's more changing the way we build our buildings. So it's more value shift, maybe as well managerialist, because both good for business and integrating environmental criteria, energy saving, it's also create business benefits. Yeah. So this is value shift managerialist. Yeah. And quick, because we have to go back. We have to go back. Just the last example, please. So I put no, yeah. Safe and health and safety. We used to say. Okay, so they do something to improve health and safety, and this is for you. Next slide. Okay, yeah, this one could be managerialist and also value shift. Yeah, it depends. Yeah, if it depends whether you think they're doing because they see a business benefit, they reduce injuries, for example, or health insurance costs, but also, you know, because they believe that it's their brand wants to be recognized as a place where, you know, people they have a good working environment, safe, and that's also could be also value shift. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you present, try to not just put, you know, the word of the company here, but your own thinking on the slide. I want to see your thinking. Why this is the why. You have to put it on the slide. Okay. And just use managerialist. Okay. And so it's clear. Just put managerialist or public interest or value shift. Okay.
Yes. Okay, because I think people can read carefully, like can read in more details about what we want to deliver. So that's why but I will take your feedback and thank you for that.
Yeah.
We'll keep it for the next
Okay.
project.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's go back to the main room so we can all talk together. Okay. Thank you. See you soon.
Yeah. See you soon. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks. All right, resume. Okay, I am in the main room. Am I? I hope so. What is meeting now?
Sorry, Professor, we are group 11.
Okay.
And
yeah, you are in the main room.
Yeah, so I've been able to talk to group 8, 10, 12, and 13. So I will go 9, 11, and 14 in the next break. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So please now let's start again. Okay, 9, 11, 14. Yeah. Are you with me? So please close the meetings now, everyone. And let me try to share the class slide. So we start. Today is difficult. For some reason, I don't see the slide in the main room, but I go back to the tricky one here, group. No. General. Is there a way do I have the power to close all the groups meetings, like in Zoom? I don't think so. Or is someone from the school listening to me? Do you have the power to close all the rooms and say people come back to the main room? I'm not sure. So people are listening to me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Professor.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, let me see if I manage to share the class. Something strange today. Okay, general, class 3. Okay, let me know if the file is moving. Is it moving?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Okay, so as I was saying in the group, and I said yesterday as well, so the goal of this first exercise, when you present in the final presentation on Wednesday the 10th, right, we clarified a mistake, so we meet on the 10th, is to place the company in this picture somewhere. So of course this is just a random allocation, but at the end of the story you will have to evaluate, having analyzed the whole strategy of the company, which motivation do you think is the most important in your company? Is your company, and again, to repeat, use please only these 3 words, or public interest, or managerialist, or value shift. And again, public interest, you need to demonstrate that the company is basically reacting to some pressure. So if this is the case, and I don't know. Okay, I was trying to show my face, but it tells me that I cannot share my video. That's strange, because I'm sharing the whole screen. I don't understand. So you can hear me at least. So I was saying, so if you say that the company is mainly motivated by public interest, please bring in your presentation some evidence, some I don't know, journal articles, NGOs, external report showing that there is some public interest, or it means maybe consumer, it means maybe NGOs, environmental association, or maybe the government, criticizing some aspect of the business. It could be environmental pollution, it could be how they treat their workers, it could be how they pay their taxes or not. And so the company, you argue that the company is doing what they're doing because they have to respond to this public interest, and then you put it here. If it's managerialist, it means that the company main motivation is to be more competitive and to reduce cost and produce economic and financial benefit. So instrumental to the bottom line, which is the old view of business and something we'll discuss today. And so again, bring data to show your point. So when you present, please, there is a microphone, there's a question, or when you present, please. Is this a question or is a mistake? So if you're not asking a question, please mute yourself. So I was saying, if you argue that the company is managerialist, please bring in the presentation the evidence that they have some metrics, some calculation that this will bring good benefit for the business, either in cost reduction or attract more customers or more motivate more employees, etc. Okay, so in the presentation, bring your reasoning. Not just present the company words from the report. We need both. We need to see what the company is doing, so copy paste from the report, that's what the company is doing, but then show in the slide your reasoning, your argumentation. Okay, so the why is what you put in the slide, not what the company say. Sometimes the company, of course, the company will always say we do it because we care about the environment and we care about our employees, and of course they will never write in the report we do it because we have no choice, right? Of course. But then it's you that you have to tell me whether you believe or not what the company is doing. And then if you find external sources, you can say, look, yes, they say they care, but they actually have been just involved in water pollution, so they have to react. Yes?
Excuse me, Professor.
Yes, so Antoine, yes, at the end of the story, I want you to put the company in one position, but the position could be also between two. Yes, between two. Yeah.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yeah.
So in the final presentation, do we need to find the example for three triangle, or we only need to find example for one?
No, at the end of the story, I want you to, you have this, and that's, allows me to recap you where we are today and where we are going. So when you present the story of the whole company, you have to select, you only have 10 minutes, so you cannot present everything. You need to select what you think is more meaningful to provide at the end your overall group opinion. So if the companies, you have 3 examples, but you will have 12 examples. We have many examples at the end of the story. And so that's why I want to simplify the thing. So just give this picture, put the company somewhere, and maybe just talk about one example that is the best one, explaining why, all things considered, the main motivation you think is there. Yeah. Even if maybe you have other example. And if you put it like here, for example, you can say there are 2 examples, that one is managerialist, one is public interest. You can say, we see that in the company there are both dimensions and they're both there. Yeah. So really what is interesting for us to hear is your interpretation of what the company is doing, and especially what the company is telling that the motivation. It's more important to hear your voice. But again, we go on, and today, by analyzing this idea about CSR models, you will get some other help in order to answer all these questions. Okay. So let me go on this very, very important reading, and there are some other reading that are important, and I will talk about this, the last one today. Question by Nguyen Tuan Hong, and she says, yes. So you cannot know, but you can interpret. You can interpret and see whether there are motivation from society that explain why the company is doing this. See from the way the company is explaining their activity whether they collect measurement that's explain that this is managerialist because they see it's a benefit. And value shift is really what we discussed today as well, what we will call integrated CSR. So, let me stop for a moment to answer this question, because I want to give you this idea that are very well expressed first in this reading and in the other reading from stakeholder theory. So you, of course, know Porter. Porter is one of the most important scholar in management, in strategy, and his work with his colleague Kramer started in 2000. In 2006, they had this very important article where they discussed this idea of CSR as a way to improve competitiveness of the company. And we will see this idea of strategic versus responsive CSR today, okay? So what they do, and then of course they develop this idea into what they call now share value, creating share value. But the really idea, it's already in this paper. And so they start by looking at this intersection between business and society, and they say, there are many issues in society, of course, and we cannot ask business to solve all the problems of the world. But on the other side, we do see that business have responsibilities, of course, and capabilities. And so what kind of social problems should business solve? And here is the idea of capabilities or know-how and skills that also should guide the way a manager decide what we should do, what is CSR and sustainability for us. So you have this framework in this article talking about issue and then type of CSR. So first of all, talking about issues, they say you can have 3 different types of social issues in society. And the first one, do you see the slide, right? Is it moving? Yes?
Yeah, we see some. Okay.
So the first group of social issue is what they call generic social issues. What I mean, like the word of course suggests, generic means is an issue that is not significantly affected by the company. So it's really nothing to do with the business. So for example, if we talk about CO2 emission and we talk about a financial institution, clearly this is a generic issue for a bank. The core business of the bank is not really producing CO2 emission. That's not really the main or the core business of a bank. So if a bank tells you, if you open an account, we will plant a tree, that sounds nice, but actually doesn't change anything about the business of the company. The second type of issue is what they call value chain social impacts. And this is the perspective of inside out. So looking at your business and from inside out, what kind of issue you are linked to, and linked to because maybe the company sometimes the company cause social problem, or you can solve a social problem because they are linked to your value chain. And again, the same issue, carbon emission, for a company like UPS or DHL. If you think about carbon emission, what is UPS core business? Delivering goods. How? By transportation, planes, trucks, cars. Of course, this is very relevant in terms of carbon emission. So carbon emission is a value chain impact of UPS. It's not a generic issue. For UPS, it's a value chain social impact. It's something, they have something to do, they're responsible, and they actually have the capability to intervene because it's really part of their business. They move stuff, they use transportation, and so they can really deal with this issue. And then there is another dimension of categorizing social issue, and these are the social issues that they call relate to the social dimension of the competitive context. So this time is looking at outside in, which means if you look from the perspective of the manager, value chain is inside out, is what I do and my impact on the world. Outside in is how the local context, the social context, the context, for a multinational, there are many external environment who can affect my competitiveness at the end. And that's, for example, think about carbon emissions for a company like Toyota. This is a competitive element because for Toyota, you remember with the new car, the hybrid car, the idea that Toyota transformed this kind of problem in a leverage for being more competitive. And so in this case, you can see that the same issue, which is generic for a bank and is value chain for a company like UPS, can become an element of competitive context for a company like Toyota. So it's really interesting to see this first way to categorize or prioritize social issues. Why prioritize? Because of course you should not spend time in the generic social issue. There's nothing to do with your business. You should focus on value chain and in issues that are around your company and can come back as a better improvement of your business. Another example which is interesting they do in the article, if you think about the COVID example today, is what happened with the AIDS pandemic a few years ago. And again, if you look at the AIDS pandemic, it could be a generic social issue for a company like a US retailer. It could be value chain for a pharmaceutical company. And it can be a competitive context issue for a mining company, because if you operate there, the local context, of course, affects you. And if in the local context there is a big social issue like this, of course, then you have a problem in operating. So first look at the issue, but then ask for your business, is this generic, is value chain, or is an important dimension of the competitive context? And from this analysis, then you talk about different types of corporate social responsibility. Because when a company is doing something that is dealing with generic social impact, and I was telling this in some group, you know, like a construction company giving a scholarship to children to go to school. This is good citizenship. There's nothing to do between building I don't know, a hotel and, you know, student education. It's not, and especially because it was not in the same community. So there are many things that are good deeds, but they're not linked to the business. And this is what an example of what we can call good citizenship. They're all nice things to do, but they are not linked to the core business of the company. And there's a second version here. So it's very interesting because the value chain can be both responsive or strategic. Responsive means it's only mitigating harm. So when the company is doing something to reduce basically the damages or to compensate for something that they have created along their value chain. Typically, you know, you pollute the river, you have to clean up. That's still a responsive kind of CSR. But then they introduced this concept of strategic CSR. And again, there has two different versions of strategic CSR. So first, I want to start with what we can call strategic philanthropy, which is different than just good citizenship, which is the same thing. It's giving money. Instead of giving money to children if we build the hotels, what if we give money to educate children if we are a school, if we are, let's say, a company producing books? Maybe that's leverages some capacity, some capabilities in the context, and this is coming back to the business. And that's the idea of strategic philanthropy. Is philanthropy basically not to a generic issue, but to a dimension of the external context, which can actually benefit the company itself. Another example, let me quick here. I had this example from Vina Milk in your class last year or 2 years ago. If a company that is making milk is giving milk to Vietnamese kids, of course, it's not just good citizenship, because it is linked to their business. They sell milk. So by giving milk they improve the reputation, of course, and maybe also, you know, the taste is nice, and children will buy more milk when they can. So it's bringing back value to the company in a competitive context. It's not doing something which is completely disconnected to their business, as like a bank planting 1 million trees. Thank you very much, but you know, you're selling mortgages. You're not in the business of forestry. Okay. Mitigating harm. For example, Nike reducing child labor. Yes, it's the value chain. And then what is the second dimension of strategic CSR is the most important for me, which is transformation. It's what we discussed before in terms of value shift. And this is the transformation, the value chain activities to benefit society while reinforcing strategy. So it's something that has to do with the strategy of the company, but it's a transformation, like the Toyota model is a new car, is a hybrid car. Of course, it's a mitigation of the CO2 emission, but at the same time, is a new product. It's a transformation of the business. So it's not just mitigating harm. Mitigating harm would be, you know, to pay back for the damages that we do with our pollution. This is not. This is reducing pollution by changing the product. So it's value shift or strategic CSR. Okay. The other example of philanthropic strategic philanthropy here was Microsoft. Again, a company selling software, giving free software or IT tools to a school. Yes, it's charity, but it's not disconnected. It's of course linked to the competitive environment. And these kids, maybe when they work, they will buy a computer, they will buy a Microsoft software. Okay, so that's the important difference between responsive and strategic, with this slight boundaries between simply mitigation of harm and transformation of value chain. So here is not maybe so clear to see the difference, but it's very clear between generic citizenship, which is charity disconnected to your core business, and what we can call strategic philanthropy. Okay. So that's strategic versus responsive CSR. I just a recap of what we were saying the first day, talking about stakeholder theory and the difference between shareholder value and stakeholder value. Okay, so we discussed this already. So I just want to go to the slide where we recap the idea that both for Friedman and the only social responsibility is to maximize profit, as long as you do it in a way that respects the rules, the regulation, and no deception, of also with some good ethical content. The idea that good business can also take care of some community or some stakeholder, and this is good for business, so it isn't justified by the corporation. Sorry, is the same idea of stakeholder theory. So we do it because it's good business, not because it's CSR as a separate dimension. And that's something that in stakeholder theory we call integrated CSR. So really there is a danger when you look for CSR activities, and most companies still have this idea that CSR is something separated from their core business. But that's really looking about charity, philanthropic activities, or community investment, as we saw in the managerialist perspective. When really you change your business, you are doing something which is what this person, leader of the Business the Community Initiative in the UK, it's called responsible business. And I like this quote because I think it's very clear. What is responsible business? Is not about how a company spends the money, and spending money means charity, philanthropy, community investing. These are good things, of course, yes, they're helping people, yes, but they're not changing their business model, and has nothing to do how a business makes its money. So we want business to be responsible, the typo, sorry, but responsible business is not just writing a check or spending money. It's about how you create value, how you create your profit, how you manage your business. And so how you integrate in the process, the planet, the environmental, and the social, the employees, how you treat your people, how you treat your customer, your suppliers. That's what we want to see for CSR or for sustainability. So it's very important that when you look at the company project, ask yourself, is this about spending money or is it about changing their business model? That's the key question. And that's the difference that we call residual or integrated CSR. In the book of Stakeholder Theory, we talk about these two different models of CSR. And again, residual CSR is this idea that you first make money and then you give back to society after profit. So you, of course, it's the old model where first you think about profit and shareholder, and then you think about giving back its profit redistribution. So maybe responsive CSR, we just saw, responsive CSR is a sort of residual CSR. You give back to society, responding to what they ask you. Philanthropy, etc., you see. Integrated CSR is when you make money in a responsible way. So it's not first money and then CSR. It's something thinking about value creation, including all stakeholders and not just shareholders, and it's about building partnership, not responding to claims, but engaging. Again, the difference between stakeholder management, top-down, and stakeholder engagement, two-way conversation. We talk to our customer, we talk to our employees, we listen to what they say, and we develop together maybe new solution, new product design, co-design. That's a stakeholder engagement. So it's not communication top-down. So it's not philanthropy, is designing of new product, making business differently, integrating responsible issue, ethical issue, environmental protection issue in the way we make our money, in the way we run our business. So that's the idea, and that's the explanation, basically, of what I just said. So that's the how. These are the ideas of the how, from responsive to strategic CSR, and from residual to integrated CSR. So what kind of CSR is your company doing? That's the second question I want you to think about. Okay, so I would like to say, let's take a break now, and if you have question, I will answer your question in your group. So I go on first with the group 9, 11, what was it, 14, and then again, any group, you know, I will check all your chat. I can join your group, I can respond to your question. So start thinking about the type of your CSR approach in your company. And again, this is for the final presentation, okay? So you don't have to select project, and you don't have to present anything tonight. You have to work and for the final presentation. So I am here to coach you and to answer your question. And I would like to do this after the break until 9 o'clock, if possible. So sorry, at 9:30. Yeah, 9:30. So we have 15 minutes before the end of class, where we go back and I offer you a summary of this idea, and also I want to talk about tomorrow. So if we take a break now, in the meantime, I will send you 3 slides with the summary, so you have it to work on this. Okay.
Okay.
So let's take 15 minutes break now, and I will come back. So, and then go to your group, and I will join you. I will join group 9 in 15 minutes or 20. So you start meeting. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I have this problem of this echo. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, sir. You back to the main room.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But I have a
Please check if you are also join the other classes or other groups or other meetings.
I don't understand. Can you move me in another room?
Excuse me, Professor, you can close the team software and you go back again. So and you will join this meeting. So that is the way you can out of all other meeting.
Maybe I'm back. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's good, sir.
Okay. As I was telling to some friends in one group, I have a PhD, but I don't know how to use Teams. Yeah. It's the most complicated things that happens in your life. Anyway, guys, so I had very good conversation with all the groups, and I would like to go back to a summary of today's class. So let me share the last slide, if we may do this. Okay, so voila. So I will upload this later, just after class. But this is the summary. You see the summary slide with responsive and strategic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so again, remember there are two types of responsive. Either is about doing something which is a good deed, a good citizenship, but is totally unrelated from our business, or is simply mitigation of harmful impact of what we did. You know, we did something, we created the problem, and now we fix the problem. But mitigation means, you know, recompensation, fixing the damages, but without changing. You know, we go on with business as usual. Is different for the same framework of Porter and Kramer when it's a transformation. It's still, you know, you can say we are doing something which is reducing the harm. For example, you know, we build a building which is now efficient, or we build new toys who are in a new materials. We don't use plastic anymore. You know, Amazon reducing the boxes, whatever is a transformation of impact. Of course, we are reducing the harmful effect, but it's not simply a mitigation, because we are transforming the way we make money, the way we produce our product, the way we deliver our services. So it's a transformation of the business. That's the difference between responsive and strategic. Responsive is really writing a check, either, you know, to support some people or to compensate some damage that we have done. Strategic is a more transformation of our activities in order to do better, to avoid the mitigation. Then we have this idea of responsible business, which is, you know, helping us to understand what we mean in stakeholder theory in terms of integrated CSR. So if you want responsible business and integrated CSR are very similar idea, and really the idea that, you know, we do things differently. It's not about spending money, so it's not about philanthropy, but it's how we create our product, how we design our product, is how we make our money. So how we make money, which means how we treat our stakeholders, our suppliers, our community, our employees, integrating in our business model these economic, environmental, and social criteria. So it's a different way to create value. It's not a way to mitigate or to repay back society. That's I want you to use as a framework to give your opinion at the end of the story when you present your company. What is the prevailing, what is the dominant approach in your company? What is your opinion, of course, at this point, and maybe some people will disagree, but in order to support your opinion, you need to do some research, and tomorrow I will give you some other ideas on how to research, not just from the company report, from some external sources. Obviously, as we comment in the chat, when you include external sources, you need to check whether this source is reliable. So, of course, CNN or in New York Times, The Guardian, the Vietnam newspapers, some institutional and international news is reliable, of course. If it's just one person blog or former employees saying that the company is a terrible one, it's one person opinion, of course. So you have to evaluate. But please include this in your presentation. Include the kind of criticism that you find from media, from news, or from NGOs. So you have environmental NGOs, and of course from Greenpeace to the Greenpeace is obviously the most respected and reliable worldwide, but there are many other organizations. So you can go to other human rights, environmental organization, and then if they talk about your company or if they talk about your industry, then it's important that you read what they say. And then you can use it as a way to evaluate how good is your company, how well is the company doing, and what the company could do better. And that's for your group opinion. Okay? Any question on these categories? Please go back to reading the article because it will be clarifying, I think. And I will upload the slide tonight.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I still don't understand much of is it we have for category of CSR, or we just have two parts, responsive or strategic, and residual or integrated. I still don't understand it.
So start looking at what the company is doing and then ask yourself, is this activity, this project of the company responsive or strategic? Is the company, by doing so, providing some support to some people and to a social problem? Is this social problem linked or not with the activity of the company? If it's not linked, it's obviously generic, it's obviously responsive. If it's linked with the activity of the company, so if the company in some way is responsible for this problem, then you evaluate what your company is doing. It's just mitigation of the problem. So we cause the problem, we compensate the people affected, we clean up the river that we pollute, and we go on with business as usual, or we transform the value chain of the company. And if you see a change in the company production, then it's more strategic. Yeah.
I understand the definition of each category, but I don't understand that if we have one activity of the company, we can classify it only in one over four category, right? Or we can classify it in responsive and residual.
Right. Yes, you are right. So there is a parallel between responsive and residual. Yes. And between strategic, it can be integrated as well. Even if inside the strategic, you see, Porter talks about two types of strategic. And when he talks about strategic philanthropy, it's still residual for our model of stakeholder theory, because strategic philanthropy, it's always, it's also not what we call here responsible business. So responsible business is very close to integrated CSR. But strategic philanthropy is always about paying, it's always about writing a check, it's always about spending money. And so it's not integrated, it's residual, it's giving back to society, you see? So yes, you can see that responsive is obviously not strategic. An activity cannot be responsive and strategic. It's either responsive or strategic, and it's either residual or integrated. But it can be responsive, residual, strategic, integrated. But it can also be strategic, residual. Okay, don't spend too much time. This is, maybe more interesting for academic people. But I think it's important for you to see whether the company is changing the business or not. And that's, I think why this Harvard definition is very easy. Is it just spending money or changing the way they make their money? That's the key question. So we don't have time, but I wanted to show you that very good question. I put a new color, the yellow, the gold, because today I think we answer all these questions about what is CSR and the benefit of CSR to the country. So by looking at this idea of responding to society needs, you can see that CSR can actually help the company to solve social problem. And because of CSR can be strategic, you can also have CSR to link to make money at the same time, you see? Then how can a company change his CSR strategy without changing his global strategy? Then this person means CSR must be integrated. And so you cannot rightly change CSR strategy if you don't change the global strategy. In other words, CSR and strategy is the same thing, is integrated, right? What are the benefits of CSR of stakeholder? And again, we can talk today about responsive CSR, when you respond to different stakeholder needs, blah, blah, blah. Similar here, responsibility to stakeholder, suitable strategy. So this question here, understand how CSR and apply suitable strategy to contribute in my corporation. I think that's exactly the goal of Porter. In their article, they say we want to help managers to focus on the right thing, to focus on what is more suitable for the company. And in their perspective, you should move from responsive to strategic because it makes more sense. Because by being more strategic, you use your skill, your know-how, and you're more effective in solving social problems. Okay, and that's it as well. There was another question here. So I still miss some question, but you see, there are very good questions, and I think we are following your expectation with our learning path. So what is going to happen tomorrow? Tomorrow we talk about this idea of materiality and how company can create a materiality assessment, and then how can you evaluate the materiality assessment if they already have one. So in some of your companies, there will be already a materiality matrix. Some of your company don't even have a report, so you have to think for yourself. But once you understand the concept, you will be able to apply this to your company. And also tomorrow I will talk about this document, which is a UN Global Compact together with KPMG research, and they talk about different industry sector with sustainability issues. So if you have time, you can already look, but for sure tomorrow when you do your teamwork, I will invite you to go to this link and download if you are in consumer good company. And of course we have IKEA, we have Lego, we have Kellogg's, maybe Amazon. It's across many sectors. So anyway, every group can download this report, because at the end of the story you all deal with consumers, and you can see what kind of issue they recommend looking at this particular industry. Maybe if you are in the construction, you want to see as well the manufacturing, and Bridgestone maybe as well. So let's talk about this tomorrow. I will upload all the slides now. Thank you so much for your work. And I will check more in the chat tomorrow, but let's start again tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll start with materiality, and then you will have a lot of time to keep working on your report, on your research, and on your final presentation.
I still have one question, Professor. Could you
yes.
answer? Yeah, thank you.
People are free to leave if they want, because I don't want to keep you over time. But yes, I'm here, so please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, I think one company have many activities, and each activity can be classified in either responsive or strategic, etc. So if we have, so how we define a company is most of responsive or most of strategic, why they have both activities?
Yeah, at the end, I'd like, in your group opinion to tell, what you think is the main driver, so the main motivation, what you think is the main model of CSR that the company is currently adopting, okay? And so maybe you can see as well, by reading the report, maybe you can also see if there is any shift or any learning or any change. You will discuss this again next week, so maybe it's too early for you to ask, but in this moment of time, what do you think is the dominant approach? Is it responsive or strategic? Is it residual or integrated? Yeah, that's the question I think you can answer by using this framework and looking at what the company is doing, looking at how they present their sustainability and CSR strategy and all the activity that they're doing, okay? So it's really your interpretation. Sometimes the company use the language of value shift and we care and we are motivated by values and ethical principle, but sometimes it's just blah blah blah, and you see that they don't change significantly their business model. So you might say the company speak the language of value shift, but we think at the end that what they do is really more responsive and not really strategic. Or some company, they don't have a report, maybe they don't even use the language of CSR sustainability. Some company are not good in communicating, but actually maybe they're doing more important stuff. And so you evaluate if what the company is already value shift, is already integrating environmental and social issue in their business model. It's your opinion that matters, not what the company say at the end, okay? So you have to try to convince in your presentation that you understand what the company is doing, and by checking the information that you have from the website, from some other opinion, you can try to collect opinion from relevant stakeholders. Again, it could be NGOs, it could be media, it could be industry association, it could be some reliable source of information, and then you can support your opinion. That's what we want to hear. In your presentation, we want to hear what is the group opinion about this company, with some example and some supporting documentation.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you very much.
And as you mentioned yesterday, you have a paper research on the wine company in France. They are do some sustainable activities. It is right?
I have a paper which I'm gonna to put right now, which is called "Why Wine is Not Glue," and is a critique of the use of social responsible investment criteria, which look at the product, So if you are making wine, you are not responsible, and if you make glue chemicals, you are responsible. And we say it doesn't make any sense because there are glue producers who are very responsible, and maybe a wine company who is a cooperative in France who is respecting the environment and the workers who can be very responsible. So don't look at the product, look how the company is managing their business. So integrated. So that's the paper that I put here.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Good evening.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.